9th, 2020.
Sorry, should I count first to start?
Oh, whatever you want to do. It's all good.
I will count down, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Add-ons community meeting for March 9th, 2020. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, we've got myself, BJ, Jorge, Andreas, and Shane. We're going to kick off this week by recognizing a friend of Add-ons. So this week I'd like to recognize Matrix user Stoic, who has been awesome about helping folks who come into the general Add-ons Matrix room with extension development questions. Stoic has really been able to jump in and help them out. Stoic is a face that I haven't really seen around before, so it's just really great to see a new person who is familiar with the ecosystem and willing to help out and share information. So thanks so much, Stoic. We really appreciate you. So I wanted to get started with a quick check-in about COVID-19. This is mostly just a check-in to make sure everyone is safe and practicing hand washing, which is the most effective, and also like not breathing or spitting in anybody's eyeballs. That is apparently practicing good hygiene is really key to not getting sick and not carrying the disease to vulnerable populations who could get sick. So I just wanted to check in and make sure everyone was healthy and keeping themselves healthy. So Mozilla operations are still going on because we are a 50% remote workforce. People in the office have been advised to work from home for about the next week. So we're still going on. It looks like business will continue as usual. So that's the update on COVID-19 from our end. So if you get sick, please make sure that you stay home and get plenty of rest and go see a doctor if you need to go see one. Any questions about COVID-19? Okay, great. Because I probably am not qualified to answer anything beyond that. Also as a reminder, Firefox 74 goes into release starting tomorrow. One of the fun things about Firefox 74 is that 74 is the last, we will no longer support sideloaded extensions starting with Firefox 74. So as a quick reminder, sideloading in this case means that an extension is installed via an executor installer file. So like you download an antivirus software and it installs an extension into your browser automatically. And that extension can be really difficult to remove. So what's going to happen is extensions will no longer be able to install that way. You will have to take affirmative action in order to install an extension in your Firefox browser. And then you'll be able to uninstall it either through the add-ons manager, or if they have an icon that shows up in your toolbar called a browser action, you'll be able to uninstall through there. So we are not automatically removing any extensions that had previously been sideloaded to users. And developers will continue being able to update any previously sideloaded extensions going forward. So that change is going to go into effect tomorrow. There's a couple of caveats about this. There's always some nuance. So we're going to have a blog post going up tomorrow. Basically, enterprise administrators will not be affected by this. And this change will not be pushed into Firefox Extended Support Release, otherwise known as ESR. And Linux distributions and Selenium distributions can also choose to continue to enable sideloading. Oh, and 74 comes with improved abuse reports. Jorge, do you want to talk? Or Andreas? Jorge or Andreas, would you like to share a little bit about that?
I can. So what we added recently and uplifted it to 74, luckily, was collecting the page the user is on when they downloaded the add-on, because what we've seen is that sometimes add-ons are downloaded from a different page or are hosted on a different page than the user was on when they were prompted to install the add-on. And that has led to quite a few confusions, and sometimes more code is loaded afterwards. I don't want to go into the vast details here, but it helps admins trying to figure out what exactly add-ons do, and take better action in case that they are malicious. We can also think about reporting some of these add-ons to Google Safe Browsing or some other services that we use in order to classify websites as being legitimate or potentially dangerous.
Nice. And so is that improved abuse reporting already in beta, and we're gonna throw the doors open with 74?
It's in beta right now, and it will be in release tomorrow then with 74.
Awesome.
It's also going to be uplifted to ESR, or it is already uplifted to ESR, so it will be in the next ESR release.
Okay. That sounds cool. I'm going to be interested to see what results we get back from that. Like if we see any patterns like we did with side loading in abuse reports. Super cool. So with 74 going into release, that means that 75 is going to go into beta. So we had kind of a late breaking update to the identity API that's going to go in with Firefox 75. So basically in the past, if your extension needed to talk to an OAuth 2 application like Google or GitHub, you used to be able to kind of you used to be able to set your own redirect URL. And going forward, in order to make it work more in the way that this API works on Chrome, and also to make an incremental security improvement, you're now going to have to use a redirect URL that's derived from your add-ons ID. There's an exception to that case when the application allows you to use multiple redirect URLs. You'll still need to add the redirect URL used by your add-ons ID to that list, but you can continue to set your own custom ones. So developers who with extensions that use the identity API, we've notified them about this. Unfortunately, it's a pretty fast turnaround time for them to get this updated before there's OAuth 2 breakage for their extension users. So we're really sorry about that. And hopefully folks will be able to get those updates in pretty quickly. Just wanted to notify folks that we're going to be updating our documentation on MDN. That's on our radar, so that should be coming in pretty quickly. And then just, sorry, before I totally jump ahead, the reason for this is that when you use the redirect URL that's derived from your add-on API, it means that the OAuth flow returns back to your add-on and doesn't return anywhere else. That's the incremental security improvement. Yeah, and then I saw Shane wrote a note about improved permission prompt handling. Shane, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Sure. So when add-ons add a new permission during an update, as you can see in the screen, actually, there's a little triangle on the application menu on the far right that there's an update, and a lot of people miss this. So part of this was to move one or two permissions that some popular add-ons were using over to optional permissions, which allows the add-on to basically explain to the user. It gives them an opportunity to message the user when they ask for that permission. And so the add-on updates without the permission prompt, and then they ask for the permission. So that's kind of an improvement in just kind of getting updates to flow through better. As a part of that work, a number of bugs were discovered that have been fixed and cleaned up. And I think that what we'll probably do is evaluate kind of some of the existing permissions that are not optional and see if we can move more of those over to the optional. And that just basically provides a smoother update process for add-ons under certain situations.
Okay, awesome. Well, that sounds pretty helpful.
So I guess a call out there might be that if anybody wants to play around with that and see about moving permissions from required to optional, that would be cool.
Okay. Okay, awesome. And then last week we had our Q2 engineering kickoff for Q2, like what's on deck for Q2 in both Firefox and on AMO. We can give a brief summary about that. Jorge, do you want to just kind of give a quick recap about what those plans are?
Sure. So as far as things that would be visible to people, one thing we're doing is working on the way we handle usage stats for add-ons. So that currently is based on update things received by AMO. We're going to switch that to telemetry data. So the backend for that is mostly done, and what we plan to change this quarter is the front end. So that means that the stats dashboard is probably going to look different eventually, and also the data backing it is going to be a bit different. So the numbers are going to be different. We probably are going to notify developers at some point so that they know when the switchover is going to happen in case they want to back up their old data, because the new one is going to be fairly different. Then we're planning on turning on two-factor authentication for developers. This requires some work by other teams, so it's still not for sure that we're going to be able to do it this quarter, but we expect to. And that just means that when developers log into AMO, they're going to be required to go to two-factor authentication on Firefox accounts. This is something we're already recommending developers to turn on their own and do it themselves. But if they haven't, then this is going to enforce it for everyone. We also plan to make some changes to the metadata that developers set for their add-ons on AMO. So things like summaries and names and such, we're making some adjustments to the sizes of different things and the requirements and how certain things come from the manifest or are editable after the fact. So that's also going to be worked on. That's probably going to be some kind of announcement when it happens. On the Firefox side, I think most things are pretty backendish, so I'm not gonna go into detail there. But we're working on things like we're making some big changes to the add-ons block list so that it scales better. We're trying to get that out for ESR 78, if I'm not mistaken. So that would probably, I think that's more like mid-year or something that it would start to surface. Yeah, other than that, there are some security improvements that we're working on for AMO. There's some API work that Philip would know more about than I. And also some changes to the web extensions APIs regarding fission. That's multi-content processes, or as far as I understand, and some progress on the Manifest v3 work, the support for Manifest v3. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, so not a lot of projects. Very light work. We can just
go yeah.
home. Yeah, no, just kidding. Yeah, cool. Thanks for the heads up about the improving usage stats. That was a good flag for developer comms. Oh, cool. Yeah, so we're heading in for another exciting quarter of engineering projects. I did want to give a quick update about Phoenix because we've heard a lot of questions about when are the next round of extensions going to be available for the pre-release Phoenix versions. It looks like those should be coming in the next couple of weeks. Unfortunately, we don't have a firm date that we can commit to at this time, mostly because developers are still uploading their final versions, and those versions are being put through QA. So that we kind of have a better sense of what we're dealing with. But you should be able to expect to see those soon. So I think that there's a handful more of extensions that have been in our recommended program that are, my goodness, happy daylight saving time, y'all. So there's going to be a couple more extensions from our recommended program that will be available for Phoenix. And also just because I'm seeing a little bit of confusion out there, we still haven't made a decision about whether or not we're supporting long tail extensions. So I wouldn't interpret that as extensions are going away on mobile. I would interpret that as we're still trying to figure out how broadly we can support that. So just keep your eyes open. We'll provide updates once decisions have been made and we kind of have a sense of what the timing for those decisions look like. I would also expect to see a couple more updates about Phoenix coming out in the next week or so. I know there was a strategy update recently, so we're still trying to, I think, come up with concrete next steps as a result of some of the strategy shifts. So just keep your eyes open. We'll be sure to communicate this out on our usual channels when we can, when we have a little bit more concrete information. Yeah. And then I wanted to point folks to a post from Giorgio that came into our Dev Add-ons mailing list. So Giorgio is basically seeing if folks are interested in contributing to a common library for cross-browser extensions to support common privacy and security functionality concerns. I haven't looked too closely into this, but I did see this come in. So if this sounds interesting to you, Giorgio's got a link in his email, which you can access by clicking the link in the agenda. You can go check it out. And if that sounds exciting to you, I would say reach out to Giorgio and talk about next steps. And then my last update is just a reminder that Add-ons Show and Tell will be next week at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Not sure what the daylight saving time is for other folks, but we'll put an announcement about it on the forum and put the time in UTC so you can check what time it starts for you based on the start time for UTC. And then I see that we have a question. Could someone review Impulse Blocker?
It's sitting in the content review list for a week or so, and I can't even look at it. And it's just, I like to get it cleared off the list since I can't do anything with it.
Okay.
It's a known bug because I guess it's a recommended add-on.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it needs an admin.
I guess so. Someone with magic powers.
Okay. Speaking of review queues, thanks to everybody who helped answer questions about the unlisted extensions being stuck for a while. Thanks so much for helping folks out with that over this last week. So those were all of the updates that I had. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to add or ask?
I was actually surprised more developers didn't complain about the fact that things weren't getting approved over the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully they didn't give up and not come back. Hopefully they're trying again today.
Yep.
All right, well, very good. Well, if that's it, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great week and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, folks.